Hello, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome to today's webinar. Um, we're starting right now. My name is Elizabeth, and I'm the co-host for today's webinar.
Good morning, Elizabeth. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Please, can all our speakers hear me? If you can hear me, please just let me know so I know if to go. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. One more person is showing. It's not here. Okay, please, we're waiting for one more speaker before we go on. So just give her like 1 minute and we'll start in the next minute. All right, our last speaker is here, so we'll start now. Okay, first of all, you're welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to E86 Tech Exchange webinar. My name is Elizabeth, and I'm the co-moderator for today's event. And the theme for today's Tech Exchange is Tech in Everyday Life, Enhancing Convenience, Efficiency, and Wellness. In this webinar, we will delve into the pervasive role of technology in our daily lives, focusing on how it enhances convenience, efficiency, and wellness. We aim to explore the fine line between convenience and laziness, the tools and habits that contribute to efficiency, and the impact of technology on our mental health and overall wellness. So I'll go straight into the introduction, and I'll first be introducing our lead moderator for today, Atinuke Tokura. Atinuke is a presenter and hosts Women Voices on Reading 94.7 FM Abuja. and also a Senate correspondent and media communication professional who has worked as an ICT journalist and is also specialized in telecommunications, INEC, activities of the National Assembly, gender issues, and several other. Atinuke has garnered robust and wide international exposure and has a good grasp of trends, especially in the ICT space. Having participated in several conferences and seminars within and outside Nigeria, cutting across EMEA region. Atinuke is a member of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, that's the NUJ, an associate of the prestigious Nigerian Public Relations Institute, and also currently the Vice President, Nigeria Information Technology Reporters Association, Abuja chapter. She is also the former head of operations at TNTV Network, a business communication strategist and image perception management professional. Having specialized in public relations and advertising during her postgraduate diploma program at the International Institute of Journalism. Hello, Atinuke. Please, can you say hi to the audience?
Hello, a very good morning.
Good morning.
Everyone. Hope we're doing good today. Good to have you too. It's a pleasure.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so I'll go further to introduce our speakers for today. We have three speakers, distinguished speakers for today's event. And the first speaker is Toynrick Bianco, the founder, Elevation Craft and People Management Consultant. Toynrick is the founder of Elevation, a people management company and a seasoned learning and development consultant with a strong record of driving impactful people management initiatives. With a wealth of experience in organization culture, employment engagement, talent acquisition, and performance management, she has consistently demonstrated her ability to foster change, facilitate growth, and enhance capacity within private organizations, impact-driven institutions, and public sector institutions. She has trained team members within private organizations, impact-driven institutions, and public sector institutions. Some of such institutions include the Deutsche Gesellschaft für International Zusammenarbeit, the British High Commission, Research for Development, the Nigerian Defense Headquarters, Strive Agric, Ventures Park, and SOS Children's Village, Nigeria. Toynrick is a professional in Human Resources International. You're welcome, Toynrick. Please, can you say hi to the audience?
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Elizabeth, for that long introduction. Please, I want to apologize to everyone in this meeting. If I knew Elizabeth was going to read everything, I wouldn't have sent such a long bio or intro. So thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome, Ma. It's not a problem. This is you already. So we're glad to have you here today. All right, so our next speaker for today is Dr. Ayomiko Amiola. He's a physician and scientist who works in specialized intellectual disability service. He had his undergraduate medical education at Obafemi Awolowo University Medical School, graduating in the top 10% of his class. He subsequently began general psychiatry training under the Faculty of Psychiatry, National Postgraduate Medical College of Nigeria, before relocating to the UK, where he works as a clinician, a researcher, and an educator. He has published several academic articles, contributed chapters to scholarly texts, and presented at regional, national, and international conferences. He's a member of the Royal College of Psychiatrists, where he sits on the Books Committee and a fellow of the Royal Society of Medicine, where he sits as a member of Council, Intellectual Disability Division. Dr. Amiola, you're welcome. Please can you say hi to the audience?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for having me here today.
Good morning. We're pleased to have you here too. And to our third speaker for today, his name is Umar Farouk Mahmudu. He's a seasoned business strategist, an accomplished digital marketer, renowned for his expertise in spearheading and executing impactful marketing campaigns and pioneering business solutions. With a profound skill set encompassing project management, public speaking, negotiation, diplomacy, writing, and public relations, Umar Farouk has established himself as a dynamic professional in the ever-evolving landscape of digital business. Umar Farouk holds a bachelor's degree in political science from Ambrose Ali University, Ekuma, a master's in international relations and diplomacy from Bayero University, Kano, and a master's in business administration from the University of Abuja Business School. Having twice served as a moderator at a Limited Tech Exchange webinar, Umar Farouk now takes on a key role as a distinguished speaker, bringing his wealth of experience and insight to the forefront of the discussion. Notably, Umar Farouk has showcased his innovative prowess by contributing to the development of the curriculum and AI tools for AI essentials in business, leveraging artificial intelligence for business success for E86 Limited. This business course, endorsed by CEOs, stands as a pivotal corporate training program, driving business innovation and success. Hello, Umar Farouk, you're welcome. Please can you say hi to our audience?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Right, you're welcome, Umar Farouk. We're pleased to have you here. So right now, I'll be passing on to the lead moderator for today's event, Atinuke. Atinuke, you're welcome on board. I'm glad.
Thank you very much. All right, okay. Good morning all once again. All right, okay. So we all know the theme, technology, that's tech in everyday life, enhancing convenience, efficiency, and wellness. As we all know, technology has come to stay for good. No matter how much we try to, avoid it or look for the negative sides, it has come to stay. And then there's no gainsaying that it is helping us in our everyday life. But as it is also helping us in our everyday lives, we are getting to see the negative side, getting to see the negative effect. And then some people in the course of time compared it convenience or laziness. So we're going to be talking about the negative side, the positive side, cutting edge technologies, and how well we can make use of this technology. So we are going to start with Mr. Umar Farouk Mahmudu. Yes, we're going to start with him today. Okay, I think he's the first on, that's the section 1, he's the first on my list. All right, okay, so we are talking cutting edge tools. Would you be able to, could you just highlight some specific examples of cutting edge technologies and the significance in contributing to enhancing our lives?
Good morning.
Very good morning.
Okay, technology, as we know, has revolutionized the way we do things in our homes, outside our homes, our workplace, and the way we interact with people all over the world. And aside that, talking about cutting edge technologies that actually revolutionize the way we do things. Number one, AI can never be emphasized. AI is one. So with the help of AI, you see AI has actually contributed in finance, it has contributed in transportation, it has actually contributed even the way we work remotely and even the way we even work in physical in our workplace. So AI is one. Then two, Internet of Things. Internet of Things, this has to do with connection of computers in our homes and the way we live in smart homes. You see, these are the kind of things that we do to actually ease convenience and make our life easy and efficient. Smart home, having a smart home actually helps you with ease. You can just be in the bathroom now and you just turn on your water heater, and you can turn on your microwaves, and a lot of things can be done while you just at your home resting and doing your own thing. Then aside that, AI has a way of making things very easy for, like, people that use smart watches, gadgets, and all those other smart things that makes things convenient for them, reminding them of to-do lists, what to do and what not to do at that time. So these are the cutting edge technology tools that I think that are revolutionizing the way that we do things at the moment, AI and Internet of Things.
All right, okay, so we'll still come back to you, but let's go very quickly to Dr. Ayomiko Amiola. We're going to talk about the psychological impact. Over time, excessive use of technology, for example, specifically social media, AI, and what have you, may have some certain psychological effect. It may be negative, it may be positive. Some people see it as a place where, they could relax. Some see it as a place where, they could be elevated psychologically and emotionally. By the end of the day, you may think that it is doing you well, but on the long run, it is having another kind of effect on you. Would you just let us know about the psychological effect over time, especially the hidden ones that people do not know or are not aware about?
Thank you very much. I think it's important to start by saying that the important thing is striking a balance, you see. For example, if we don't have social media, we won't be having these. I've been interacting with E86 using emails and WhatsApp, and then we're meeting now on Zoom. So apparently, there are lots and lots of benefits to using technology, especially social media. And also in terms of communication, in terms of integration and socialization, people from different parts of the world, different contexts, are able to come together and interact using social media, which is a positive. But also, as we've noted, there are lots and lots of negative, especially because social media changes the way we live in the world, changes the way we view the world, changes the way in which even interaction happens. In the past, you perhaps write a letter, send it, to the post office. It's going to take a week, or 2 weeks to get to the other person who would then read and think about what they want to write and write you a letter. But now you just pick your phone and you tweet, and then people respond. You send a WhatsApp message, people respond. So these speed of communication, while a positive, can have its negative consequences, because it's building a culture of immediate response, immediate gratification, getting what you want immediately. And this can build anxiety levels. I guess this is what people do not realize, that as a culture, as a people, anxiety levels of the prevalence of anxieties have increased over time. And some of the risk factors is, the increased use of social media. Especially this is notable among young people, children, adolescents, the anxiety levels are way higher than in the past due to the use of social media. The other thing is it's a risk factor for having low mood, because people can comment on your pictures, bullying can readily happen. People can send you hate mail. People can comment on your Instagram pictures. People may not look at your WhatsApp status update, and even though you have 500 people on your contact list, just 10 are looking at your status updates. So this can tend to generate feelings of social deprivation, where people feel isolated and unwanted, which can then spiral into more serious psychological conditions.
Okay, so I have more questions on the long run, but I would want us to all talk about this before we move on. I'll go to Mrs. Toyin. Mrs. Toyin Greek, right? This one is of personal interest to me. Workplace, using technology in the workplace, beautiful, it helps and all of that, until they started introducing clock in, clock out, And they started introducing all other things to detect, if you are working, if a worker is really actually up to his or her toe. And at the end of the day, it may not necessarily equate productivity. So over time, it has caused stress, it has caused anxiety and all of that. So how do one manage this? Emerging technology with stress and anxiety in the workplace. Mrs. Doyne.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to classify the stress that technology causes in the workplace into two. There's the one you just talked about, right? Where organizations and leaders are using technology as a means to monitor or micromanage their team. Now, technology is not the reason why that is happening. Technology is simply an enabler. Do you understand? These companies already have the culture of micromanaging, culture of not trusting people. So what has happened now is smart people have come up with all sorts of tools and softwares that empower these people to now monitor. So it's like you're saying it's remote work and you trust people, but you don't really trust people, right? So in cases like that, such companies, if any company finds themselves doing this kind of thing, you need to be honest with yourself and go back to your culture. Like, why don't you trust your team, right? What do you need to do differently? And then you change the reason why you're using these tools. Now, let's now flip to the other side. Like, even without companies realizing it. In fact, companies do not have to have a bad culture, but just as what the doctor just said now, right? We have a lot of tools. You send emails, you're getting replies. Back in the day when we were writing CVs, we would say we know how to multitask. But over time, research has shown that multitasking actually doesn't help with productivity.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of pressure when you're checking your emails, you're getting notifications, you have your Slack, you have this, you have all sorts of things to do. You've not finished doing one document. Your Asana is prompting you that there's a deadline you've not met. All these notifications popping up, and then you just feel pressured, you're feeling burnt out, and even probably depressed. So I would say the kind of stress that technology causes in the workplace is two ways: from the place of the employers and culture, and then from the place of this technology making us to multitask, right? And where our brains are working overtime and we're not really being productive and we're just pressured. So yeah, this is some of it. And in cases like this, I think for the second one, we have to take some responsibility personally. You have to put some structure in place to minimize these distractions. You have to prioritize. You have to find a way to time these things, right? Because you have to acknowledge that these things are causing some stress. So that's what I would say for now. Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you. Beautifully thought out. So we'll go back to Mr. Farouk. She said something about responsible use and balancing. So that is actually where it struck a chord. That is measuring between convenience and laziness and what I'll call cheating in quotes. We've seen the role of AI, that is in examinations, and I've even seen jokes and memes on how children could cheat. Before, if I were going to write a story, I would have to rack, my mind and think and think and think. But now I could just go online and just think about something and boom, it will come. So how do you balance this? How do you make use of all of this responsibly without actually cheating yourself and without actually making really no use of, as in being productive? How do you balance it? Mr. Farouk?
Yeah, like my last week I just said, 20 years. First, this technology, like she said, when you're in the office, you get different notifications, mails, Slack, and all those things. They distract you. They really do something to your mental health. And when you get home, you just fall asleep straight and you don't even know where to start from the next day. Like you're trying to balance up from where you left off from yesterday. So one of those things that can actually help you to balance up is one, you have to set boundaries. Setting boundaries is when you know that you are at work, you just focus on your work. And when you close from work, you just de-associate yourself. Like, putting yourself up, like it's called tech free zone, yeah? So you just leave yourself at tech free zone, no gadgets, no nothing, like, just relax. So that's the only way you can recharge in order to maybe not to cause a burnout for yourself. And secondly, the other thing that I say that is engage with people. Talk to real life people. There was a time, I'll give you an instance here. There was a time that I don't really get to meet people. Once I close from work, I get home, I'm still on my phone, then go to bed and sleep. Then to repeat itself just like that from Monday to Friday. So once I get to meet people in real life, it's kind of difficult for me to keep up with communication. This is one effect of technology. So it's advisable that when you just get home, you relax, disassociate yourself from tech, live in tech-free zone, and secondly, take a walk. Yeah, take a walk. It helps you, like, like to experience nature, fresh air, and exercise. So this will actually refresh your mind from all the toxics that you've gotten from technology and all that, all the mails you got, all the messaging from Slack and all that. Then again, reflect. It actually helps you reflect, like this popular meme, think about your life. Sometimes just think about your life, reflect, then think, strategize, then think, try to strategize and think about how you can actually make your life better, how you can even disassociate yourself from this technology in the first place, and when you close, and how you can actually strike an ethical boundaries, or like in your well-being. Then lastly, that I will tell you, aside disassociating yourself from those things, then after reflecting, you have to actually manage your notifications. There are some things that you don't need. Like, for example, I actually off my notification for TikTok because I was getting a lot of messages, a lot of notifications and all that. You can turn off your notification and just focus on one thing. If it's WhatsApp that you just want to get message at the moment, just leave WhatsApp on. So these are the only things you can actually do. Then again, test your analytical thinking. Aside relying on AI all the time to actually draft documents for you, ask questions, do research and all that, test your own analytical thinking. How well are you able to think right now? Over reliance and over dependency. How well can I think right now? How well can I solve issues, complex problems, without relying on AI? I think these are the main things that we need to do that. And also actually research AIs or applications that can actually help you keep in track of those things. One is Todoist. Todoist helps you to organize, then organize all your tasks and to do just like to-do list. Yeah, Todoist helps you to organize, and people that are interested in this can take note of that. Then two, Trello, popular Trello. Yeah, Trello is it's one thing that actually helps you to manage also your tasks and track your ongoing tasks and progress. Then Forest. Forest helps you in relaxation. When you are walking, you just plant a virtual tree and watch the tree grow. So it calms you. So something like that. So Evernote too helps you organize your tasks. You keep notes and keep tracks on everything that you do. Then the last is Focus at Will. Focus at Will is one AI tool that actually helps you focus. These are the kind of apps that you see it. Actually, I talked about disconnecting from AIs, but again, AIs can actually help you stay focused also. So that's what I have to say for now.
All right. Okay. So I didn't state before we started that fine, there are no house rules, but I want to make this as conversational as possible. I wouldn't want it to seem really too serious and all of that. You know how they are always saying STEM life, IT life as very, very serious like that. So just in case you have anything to contribute before I get to you, you could just raise up your hand. Or if you want to interject, you could just raise up your hand so that we'll make it as conversational as possible. So I may have to jump Dr. Ayomipo straight to Mrs. Stoin. It said something. The reason I do not want to lose track on this one is talking about balancing convenience and laziness, and then, trying to balance it. In the workplace specifically, how do I balance it? And they do not see me as a lazy worker. For example, some of us are morning persons, some of us are not. I am not a morning person, for example. I may be more productive than somebody who is a morning person who wakes up at 4:30 a.m. The person may have started and then dropped production by 9 a.m., and I may start my day at 9 a.m. And at the end of the day, I am more productive. But the workplace, the people who are employers do not know that, and most employers do not know that. So how do you, with what Mr. Farouk listed, how are you able to manage all of that at your convenience, trying to manage stress, and at the end of the day, still trying to deliver? Mrs. Stoin.
Okay. So thank you. So in regards to people's different productive hours, unfortunately, organizations that do not have to work on site, but insist that their team works on site, right, will be unfair to such team members, right? Actually, this is one of the advantages of remote or hybrid work, because we are different people, we have different productive hours. So if I run a hybrid system, most of the time, what matters is that you deliver the results that we have said you have to deliver. So it does not matter when you get done, right?
Yeah.
However, home and hybrid, of course, everything in its excess is bad. So a disadvantage is that for some of us, because our productive hours are in the night, you now see that some people work overnight. Then in the daytime, when they should be interacting, they are sleeping, right? And then you wake up and that's when they are cooking and being grumpy. So when you look at such arrangements, you might have that kind of flexibility for productivity, but you see that you still don't have work-life balance. You still see that you still don't really get to interact with people, right? Just like what Umar Farouk just said. So it's something that even if you're given the opportunity to have that remote opportunity or that hybrid work, you have to strike some like personal balance. You have to create some boundaries, or else it's going to spiral out of control. Now, in regards to team members who work on site, right, you still have to know your strengths and your weaknesses. You have to know yourself. For instance, I know that I'm very productive when people are, because of course, HR, people are always coming to you with issues. Oh, good morning. Oh, Toyin, I want us to talk about this. Yesterday, I quarreled with this person and stuff like that. So for me, I know that if I sit in my office, I'll most likely not be productive. So anytime I'm working from an on-site location and I need to get work done, it's either I change where I'm working from, or I ensure that I start working earlier than people have come in. You have to make it work. You have to know yourself. There are people who you can play music and they'll be there and they're going to listen, like they would concentrate. Me, if you put music around me, I'm going to sing to that song. In fact, I'm going to stand up and start dancing. So know yourself, know what works for you, know your productive time, and you need to set boundaries, because either way, work must get done. There are companies that are paying people salaries in millions, in dollars, and they want you to work on site. So would you say you will not take the job because your productive time is in the midnight? So you have to know yourself and find a way to make it work, right? And then of course, technology, I keep saying it, technology is, and it helps you, it simplifies things, but it's a distraction. That's the truth. Checking emails, notifications, and all those things. So you need to set some boundaries. You need to create a structure. Do you want to check your emails once in 2 hours? Do you want to check your WhatsApp message towards close of business? You know, stuff like that. But you have to create a structure in all of this, or else you're just going to live imagineless life. Like life will just be blowing you to whichever direction it wants to blow you to. So I hope I was able to answer that question.
Yes, you did answer. And, you know, coincidentally, you're always leaving like a baton, something to take to the next panelist. So you were talking about screen time. So that takes me to Dr. Ayomi Posi. Dr. Ayomi Posi, I have noticed over time, tech neck, especially youth that are coming up these days, are already developing tech neck. Is either because of games, excessive playing of games, or excessive, you know, bending down. And children are already using glasses, not because of natural eye defect, but because of screen time. And then, of course, a lot of digital distraction. I am guilty of it because I learned recently how to tech fast. And I noticed that I am afraid that I am already addicted, because I cannot spend a minute without wanting to grab my phone. Even if I tech fast, I've noticed that it's just as if they've taken something away from me. And you know how it used to be, as if, you know, when you run out of data, you want to recharge by all means possible. You wouldn't want to delay. You even recharge before you eat. It has gotten to that extent. So these may be having adverse effect on the mental health if it is not well managed. So how do you manage all of that so that it would not have effect on your mental health? And I'd also like you to lay emphasis on this generation. You know, our generation, yes, I'm going to speak for us. Our generation is lucky, a very lucky generation, because we witnessed the transition from the no internet days, now entering the new internet days. The older generation probably didn't witness that. The new generation are born into tech. And just think that is the reality of things. We see parents handing over gadgets to kids, all in the name of the learn faster. Oh, they're singing ABC 1, 2, 3 on it. I want you to talk about all of this, especially for this generation.
Thank you very much, Martin. Okay, so I will start with the screen time. So for young people, increased screen time has been linked to developing, visual disorders, myopias, short-sightedness, and things like that. But for the rest of us, you're already mature, your eyes are developed. That's not really a consideration. But the blue light that comes from the screen can affect one's patterns of sleep. So it's important to know that because the circadian rhythm for most of us is 24.2 hours. So naturally, the body has a rhythm of 24 hours, light and dark, and then will become sleepy when it is dark. But when you then use screen, either your phone, your tablet, or the computer, the blue light mimics the light that comes from the sun, from daylight. So the body still thinks that it's not yet time to go to sleep. So that's one consequence of screen time. Another consequence is how that when we use our computers, we don't blink as often as we should. Although the same happens when we read too. So, and blinking is a natural process to keep the eye healthy. So when we don't blink as much as we should, that would cause dry eyes, eye strain, and a host of other things. So for that, what has been advised to do is to use the 20-20-20 rule, which means every 20 minutes or so, I'm going to stop what I'm doing. I'm going to try to look at an object 20 meters away and blink 20 times, and then return to what I'm doing. So that's the 20-20-20 rule. The other thing that has been suggested is to have the computer at an arm's length from us, not very close, but at an arm's length. And there are computers with glare reflectors that people can buy to use. So that's that about screen time. Then about the tech neck. That's a major thing, especially as you've explained, the way we, bend the neck when we're using the phone, keep our neck straight while we're working on the computer. Really, in terms of what we can do, the solution is to, have a pause. Really, from time to time, take a pause from, using your phone, using the computer, take a walk, speak with people. If you don't necessarily have to use the phone, don't use it. I forgot to say about circadian rhythm. One thing to do is about 2 hours before bedtime, stop the use of the phone. What I personally try to do, which I fail at often and often, is once I get back from work, I just keep my phone. I don't even use my phone once I get back from work. I spend that time with it. Try to spend that time with the family. So people could do that. You leave work by 5, get home by 6, and then once you step into the house, just keep the phone. If there's an emergency, people will call. If they text you and you don't read the WhatsApp, they will call you on the phone, and then you hear it ring. You can pick it and answer. But most of us, that's when we'll be on Instagram, Quora, reading comments, Twitter. Yeah, and it is addictive.
You want to talk at me directly. Stop cutting corners.
As you've observed, it is addictive. Do you know that people involved in tech actually get psychologists to help them understand human behavior? And all of these things, the algorithms are meant to be addictive. So the more you search for something, it gives you more of the same. So you find yourself in an echo chamber where you are getting everything you want. So which motivates you to, want it more and more. So that's positive reinforcement, really. You're getting what you want, and then you search for it more, and you get what you want, and you keep on searching and searching and searching. So that's why it become addictive. Also, the social validation that we get from social media is very, very important. Many of us don't have people telling us how great we are in real life, but then you post something and people comment. So that's naturally beautiful. Everyone wants that. So it's so I guess the take-home point is to be validating of people in real life, write people notes, real notes, tell them if they've done a good job. And then they don't feel the need to always upload something and see if people will comment and say, oh, your picture was very beautiful. Oh, you went for a vacation. That's really nice. You're having a good life. So that's that. Then for the children, who are my elder brother will talk about tech nomads and tech natives. So I think we are tech nomads. So we move into that. But whereas they were born into it, so they're tech natives. The American Academy of Pediatrics has said that children younger than 2 should not have any screen time, which is hard. I have 2 children. It's easy to distract them by just handing them Cocomelon or these cartoons or that, and then you can do something really important. But we have to realize that spending time with the kids is the really important stuff. So the American Academy of Pediatrics will say no screen time for children younger than 2. Between the ages of 2 and 5, the maximum screen time is, I think they say, 1 hour. And it's best if that is, spread throughout the day. And children should spend more time, like we did, with people, with older siblings, with neighbors in the community, church, if people go to church, round in the community, in the neighborhood, going to parks, running around, riding bicycles. Those are the kind of things children should do. But if we live, as most of us do, in cities, maybe you don't even know your neighbors, All of us lived in gated compounds. You get into your car and drive out in the morning, drive in the evening. The only time you meet is when you need to have a security meeting, and you don't even know your neighbors. So it needs a whole overhaul of our lives and our priorities and our value system. I remember growing up as a child that most of the time you'll have your grandparents around, So even when your parents go to work, there is the grandparent around. But if, for example, if you live abroad, that's a difficult thing, bringing parents outside the country. But even if you live in Nigeria, grandparents also have their own lives to live, and it will not even be a value to link those generations, the older generation and the younger generation. That has to be a value that we need to bring back. So those are some of the things that can help. Otherwise, as you've said, children will develop these musculoskeletal problems in their neck, visual problems, sleep problems, anxiety disorders, bullying, which is a major thing that has been seen in research.
Okay. All right. So we move straight to Mr. Farouk. Mr. Farouk, another thing I noticed about tech users, is that we do more of investing in it than actually gaining from it. Meanwhile, the people who actually introduced us to this thing are gaining more in terms of skill acquisition, skill development. We tend to invest in gadget updates. You see somebody saying, I want to buy the latest phone, I want to buy the latest computer, I want to buy the latest work tool and all of that, without necessarily making 50% usage of that gadget. And then you see people spend so much on data without getting anything out. There are courses, a lot of courses that people could actually, study online, but they do not know. If they don't get the physical one, they do not know about this. So I have seen over time that, to cut a long story short, we do more of investing into all these gadgets, paying so much into all these gadgets, much more than gaining out of it. So would you be able to, just give us some tips, especially the generation of now? How are you going to make money modestly from technology? There are a lot and a lot. We saw the harvesting that Mark Zuckerberg came to do years ago in Lagos, and a whole lot will be going on the ground. But we still have a lot of untapped resources, especially in the terms of human mind, and a whole lot that is still left undone. So how can people actually, make use of these and gain something meaningful from the use of technology overall?
Thank you very much. there is worth of opportunity in online that people can actually do to acquire skills. A lot. Using my smartphone now, I've actually made money using my smartphone. For example, how do I make money using my smartphone? Because I have skills of video editing and photography. For example, if you have an event that you're going, maybe next week Saturday, you can say, Farouk, please, can you accompany me to an event? What does that mean? You want me to come with my phone so I can take pictures of you? Edit the pictures, like, capture the moment. Then I pure edit. It's not for free, right? So once people, especially females, females, this is like, if you want that kind of job, you have to approach a lot of females that that they are social media friendly. They love to be on social media. They like posting. Sometimes they even have a 15. They don't even know like who to take them pictures and what to do with these phones. Right? You can teach them skills like video editing using CapCut, as simple as CapCut. Okay, I noticed that you'll be posting your reels, you'll be posting those things. Do you know that your reels can be better? Then I can teach you how to use CapCut to create those reels. Then you take the phone from them, teach you how to use CapCut, then you make money. Like last week, I think 2 weeks ago Saturday, I was in an event. Yeah, what I did literally, I know it's not something I should be proud about, but did I make money or not? Like you said, are we making money from those gadgets that we invest in? Yeah, I use an iPhone X Max. Yeah, I followed the lady. She has an event to attend with her mom. Took pictures of them, edited them, created reels for them and all that. I think I did that job from 10 till 7 p.m. Yeah, and how much did she pay me for that? 80,000 naira for that day. Not like I covered the entire event. I was just taking pictures of her and covering the whole thing. It's not that I should be proud about that. Hey, big man like me, following a lady, not that. But am I making money or not? These are the kind of things like, you can learn simple video editing online, and aside photography and video editing, okay, you can come to other courses. For example, you can learn tech courses from Coursera, Udemy, and other, even Khan Academy, other tech courses and other subjects that you want to learn online. These are some of them will offer like free courses. But again, we Africans, we want something that is immediate. We don't want to invest time into learning these skills because we think it's time wasting. But the time that you take to learn these skills will actually fetch you more money than even more than you expect. You get? So that's one. Then two is podcasts and audiobook. People undermine those things and they don't even listen to podcasts, they don't listen to audiobook. Like when I was listening to you, the first thing that actually caught my attention was when you speak and your voice tone. Okay, so if I'm interested in learning how to do public speaking, how to talk like that and how to do this, I have to start listening to people a lot. Like people will say the best way to become a writer is to read. It's what you read that you can actually imagine and you can write. So people need to invest in podcasts and audiobooks. So it will actually help them to read and listen to the kind of speakers that they want to listen to that will help them shape their future or the way they perceive life. Then three is language learning apps. There are a lot of language learning apps. Okay, what are you doing with your free time? I was reading an article one time like that, and they say that one of the diplomatic things that would be in trade in 2024 to 2025 was Chinese language. You can actually learn Chinese language with your phone, right? There are apps for language learning like Duolingo, then Babel, then Rosetta and Rosetta Stone. Those are the kind of apps that you can download. I'll repeat it again in case someone is taking notes. Duolingo, Babel, and Rosetta Stone. These are the kind of apps that you can download that can actually help you learn new languages, and even the language that you already understand that will make you even advance in these languages. That's another skill to learn. Then join online communities. People undermine this thing too. What do you want to do? That's the first question you should ask yourself. What do you want to do? Who do you want to become? Who do you want to be like? Who are you looking up to? Then look for these communities of these people that engage in this kind of conversation, that talk about things like that. So you can actually join them to start talking about stuff like that. And once you start talking about things that actually align with your personal growth, you see yourself develop and you see yourself begin to take part in the kind of reasonable conversation that you yourself, you don't even know that you can even take part of. You might not know how fast you are learning until you start to engage in conversation. That's how fast you get to learn that. Okay, I think I've mastered this skill. I'm talking to people of the same niche, of the same background and all. Then another one is productivity app. Like I told you, tech can never be undermined. Like you can't like underlook tech in the areas of growth and skill development. So we have Evernote, like Trello, then Notion to analyze your tasks and all that. Then again, lastly, take a retail course too. Take a retail course that actually align with your professional background, professional objective, and what you want to do. If you are investing in smart gadgets, okay, now that I have this tab, now that I have iPhone 15, now that I have Samsung, what do I want to achieve with it? What do I want to do with it? Learn the tech skill that you can actually stay at home with your convenience and you start working. I was working remotely before I joined 86 Limited, right? What was I doing? I was managing social media. I didn't even have a laptop. I was doing that with my smartphone. I was earning in dollar. I was making my money in dollar, right? So I was managing a clinic company social media account with my phone, and I was making money in dollar. What was I doing? I was helping them to post, helping them to create. I was using Canva with my phone. I wasn't even using system. I started using system to edit on Canva when I joined 86 Limited. I was using my phone to edit on Canva, to post, and I was making money there. What am I doing? So what are people doing with their phones? You can actually go on Instagram. You're always on Instagram. Check for business accounts. Their accounts are lying, like they're lying idle. There are no posts there, but their business account. Engage with them, talk to them. I can do this for you. Let them give you the job. Even if you don't know how to do it, go online, watch YouTube videos. You'll be able to learn how to do those tiny tech skills and all that. From there, I push forward to learning how to use TaxBed, to organize tasks, to see what she's doing, how her cleaning rosters work, and so I can actually help her to prepare these things on QuickBooks. Yeah. So these are the things that people can actually learn if they really want to make money with their gadgets.
That's insightful. Thank you very much. I wish I could, clap multiple times for that. That's really very insightful. Before I ask about workplace, that's toxic workplace, or toxic work environment. I don't know if this is a question for Mrs. Story Greek. It says, with the advancement in Internet of Things facilitated by 5G, how can HR departments utilize connected devices to create smarter and more efficient workplaces? I'll put that to you before I go further.
Okay, so thank you, Atinuke. I'm going to speak from the perspective of say an organization that runs hybrid or like an on-site company. So the truth is technology is very important for automating things and simplifying processes. But anytime, any day, like human interaction for me would always take the lead over the technology interaction. However, technology helps you to document the conversations. Technology helps you to make some conversations official. So there's that, right? Interaction, humanly speaking, is very important. However, you can use technology, right, to drive a lot of employee engagement. So there was a time I worked at this tech firm and we had different branches. We had a branch in the East, we had a branch in Lagos, and we had some team members in Abuja. So over time, I noticed that we knew each other online, but we didn't know each other we just used to see each other's names, but we didn't know each other much. So I started a HR, it was a monthly newsletter, a HR newsletter where I would feature a team member, I would share news about our performance, results, or this is happening on this day. Like I had a column for news, I had a column for like some updates. I even used to share articles on some things that were important, like mindsets, policies, and stuff. Then every month I would feature a team member, right? And then just write fun things about this person. And over time, because I was rotating it, I'll feature people from Lagos, Abuja, the East, and all of that. And over time, we were getting to know each other really well. So this is a way that technology helps me to drive engagement in this company, right? And then even when it comes to communication, it's not every time that you'd have the opportunity to pull people into one room, but as things are changing in your company, your direction is changing, you're progressing, there are updates, decisions that have been made, you continuously communicate with people, keep them informed. And the good thing about technology, personally, I've been practicing HR for about 10 years now. And when I started doing HR, that time things were serious. Like Those were times when you come and say, good afternoon, I hope this finds you well. We are following up, please be advised, stuff like that. But now the kind of people in the workplace want you to sound cool, the people that are saying it's not giving and all those kind of language that these young people want to speak. So what I do is I write my emails and then I go to ChatGPT and tell ChatGPT to give it a tone. So sometimes I write some emails and my email that would have sounded serious, I find a way to make it sound the way I want it to sound. And I engage continuously using technology, even when it comes to things like Slack, right? A lot of us are very good at using it to give each other updates or like to chat officially. But you can even use those to play little games. You can use that to do quizzes for your team and stuff like that. So these are ways in which you can use communication to improve engagement. Now, in regards to being toxic, there was a place I worked at where people used to blind copy their bosses to set traps for people, right? There are people that send emails to set trap. Me and you have a conversation, you go and send an email. You're not sending that email because you want to carry me along. You're not sending that email because you want us to work together. You're sending it, then you now go and start tracking and saying, oh, it's 1 week, this person has not responded, stuff like that. So companies have to have a culture of whatever culture you want it to be, collaboration, communication, openness, teamwork. You have to tell people, when you see people doing that, you discourage it. It's what I do. I discourage it. I see cases where people come on a meeting there and say, I sent her an email 3 weeks ago. In cases like that, I flip it back to you. Did you follow up? So you can't come tell me you sent an email 3 weeks ago and you didn't follow up and I'll clap for you. No. Did you follow up? So these are things you need to check for signs that people are abusing these things. If someone is blind copying you on an email that you have no business being in, why are you blind copying me? What was the purpose of this? You have to discourage people from using technology to set traps or like to create toxic environments. So I'll say again that technology does not create toxic environments. It is people that use technology to enable that toxicity. And as leaders and HR people, we must, when you see it, you bang it, you stop it, you do not allow it. So yes, thank you.
All right, okay, so I'd like to add to what you said when you say, did you follow up? Also ask the person a question. If I am on you and you send a message or email and I don't answer, won't you follow up? So you should always add that line to it. Okay, so we'll go to Mr. Farouk. Thank you, Maybe Bienfa, for also joining in. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the session. If you're just joining us, you've not really missed so much because we still have an hour ahead and a whole lot of things to talk about. We want to talk about emerging technologies, emerging tech trends. Away from social media, I know that we are yet to even see some technologies that would come on board. And I will give you an example. While I was growing up, there's this sticker that used to be in there's one business center we used to go. When I'm talking about business center, we're just talking about photocopier. That was in 1996. I remember well. So somebody just put that, it's on the wall. Have you heard about the millennium bug? Yeah, Y2K. That was then people kept saying, what is Y2K? What is Y2K? And then I remember then when we were going to write in school, we'll say Y2K, that they were now saying that it is a time that there will be computers and there will be phones. You'll be able to do a lot of things on phones. And those times, you and I could have become billionaires if we understood the wealth that was coming. I remember because, I was in journalism school and somebody was telling me, you speak well, you did that, can you start blogging? It sounded so big to me. I said, blogging. This person told me this thing in 2004. 2004, that was about 20 years ago. Can you start blogging? I said, I don't understand what that means. So I said, okay, so since you don't understand, you don't want to even find out. I'm like, imagine I'd started blogging since that person told me. And, here we are 20 years after. So we have a whole lot ahead of us that we do not know about. How are we going to discover these? How do we know what to do, how to tap in? And okay, now let me not answer the question, because if I'm going to add some certain things now, I may at the end of the day answer your questions on some consequences of some jobs that people are taking now and some courses people are going to take in schools now. Let me not go straight into that. But I'd like you to talk about emerging technologies and how
Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. I
Yes, we
think we
can
lost
hear you.
Atinuke.
Yeah, I think Atinuke, yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know if to answer a question or to wait till she's back. I think I just have to let me wait for a minute to see if she comes back.
how we can tap from it right now. And as
I think she's back now. We lost you
Okay,
for a
she's
second.
back.
Okay. I think you're on mute now.
but did you hear all the jargons I spilled?
Yes. I understand
Okay.
your question. I get your question.
Okay.
Cool. First, yeah, thank you very much for that brilliant question. Yeah. I think I'll put this question into two segments. One is first, like the question I said, what do you want to do? Like you mentioned blogging. Someone asks, yeah, want you blog and you don't even know, like maybe probably you don't even know what it means and it does not align with you. Yeah. So people need to, before you can start saying you want to do this thing, you have to make research, even have an idea of what the thing entails and what it's all about. You need to know, what do you want to do? What do you want to achieve? Then once you can find those two things, then you can look for how to actually achieve them. Then secondly, like you talk about evolving technological trend and all that, you already have a foundation on AR, VR, and that's virtual reality and augmented reality, AR and VR, yeah? AR, yeah, and VR, these are the kind of technologies that help you to express things in real life. It's been done in education, transportation, and a lot of things. Like you can just be somewhere and just even in you can just put up. I don't know if you know this thing. You can put on these glasses and you can watch things happening like live, like you can feel it like happening live.
Reality.
Yeah, virtual reality. So these are, you can actually travel to these places and experience things in real life. So these are the kind of technological trend that is working at the moment. Then again, artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is something that is a foundation already. That you know that okay, there are large model language. There are where you can natural processing language too, like ChatGPT, where you can actually write a message to then respond to you like in text, like in human form. These are the things that are trading. So now that we have AR, what's it called? Artificial intelligence, AI. How can you build your test skills around it? Because any technological skill that is coming right now comes with AI. Even the website right now, website has a little chatbot that you can actually interact with and talk to. You see, the new Samsung phone has an AI also. You see, the new technological trend, they are building upon it and they keep improving. And you see that AI is a thing. Then secondly, it's Internet of Things, smart homes. Now that smart homes, everybody's living in, like almost rich people are living in smart homes. That you just come and ring the doorbell, and even when you are even driving close to your house, you're already your map notifies your home that you are coming close. And if you have the timer set on your heater, whatever your heater start warming up your water, you see you're living a smart life. So these things are things that we continue to grow. And whatever new technology skill or development that will be coming up will come up from these ideas already, the foundation, which is the AI, the AR and VR, and what's it called, the Internet of Things. Then again, lastly, I will talk about to prepare for the change that you consider the following. One, stay informed. Read blog articles, like listen to news, know what is involved, know what is on trend, so you can know where to actually focus your energy on in test skills and all that. We here at E86, we tell people to take data analytics course, and it'll be like, where can I work with that? What can I do with data analytics? And I tell them you can actually do data analytics with a lot of things. And I don't think there's any organization, any form of organization that does not have data. their data for you to analyze, visualize, and do a lot of things. And even so, someone was here last year. I was like, I study political science. What test skills can I do? And people I was like, yeah, you can do data analytics because it's a course that you can just do. You don't even need to have a proud test skills before you can take up this course. There are a lot of test skills that we have, so I don't want to act like as if I'm marketing here for ATCs, but there are a lot of test skills that you can actually do that actually align with your professional goal, academic backgrounds, or whatever thing that you want to belong to. Then secondly, life learning. So when things are coming on board, try to actually stick with the changes and learn to actually learn to accept this change. And things are coming, learn to accept it. There's my personal code that I wrote that says that change is just another motivation. Now that you know that this thing is coming on board and people are making money out of it, people are cashing out. What can I do? What test skills can I do that align with this that can actually help me to develop more in this area in order to stay abreast with the tech skills. Then before I hand over the microphone to you, I'll quickly tell you something. I was having a conversation with my colleague Elizabeth at the office. I was like, do you listen to Nigerian music? And she said, no, really. I was like, why? It's like there are too many artists. So I could not keep up. That's the reason why I stopped listening to Nigerian music, like Afrobeat entirely. Then I could just relate that with tech. As human beings or peers that grow each other, so does tech does. So when these new technological skills or tools start coming up and you don't stay informed, they outgrow you. And when people start talking about these things, you don't even have an idea of what the thing is all about. You don't have an idea. You don't even know how you fit in. You don't even know what to do. You don't even know the tech cost to do. That's why when those things are coming up, you have to start listening to webinar, podcasts, a lot of things to see what's trending. What can I do to join this wagon? What can I do to actually join these things? I think I've been able to answer your question with that.
Yes, but please, yes, you've been able to answer my questions. Feel free to advertise. Yeah, because people need to know. People need to know. You know, if I had the knowledge, some of the knowledge I have now, if I had it then, I probably would have been a bigger brand by now. That's actually what endeared me to bring Daniel over to say, you have to learn a life skill in the tech world, you know. All right, okay. So we'll move. Yeah, I'm still going to ask you about investments. There are some investment people are making now that seem to be like nothing. Let's not even delve into the crypto market. Let's not even talk about the IT stock market and all of that. There are lots of investments people are doing now that will pay so much later. We're going to come to that. But let me go to Dr. Ayomikosi. Ayomikpo, sorry, I said Ayomikosi.
Yeah, it's Ayomikpo, just Ayomikpo.
Okay, it's Ayomikpo. Let me add C, don't worry. Okay, so to-do list. We have spoken about to-do list, you know, drawing an elaborate to-do list. I am the chairperson, Dr. Mrs. To-do list. I have to-do lists stuck all over my wall. I have a whiteboard there where I use marker to write to-do list. On my phone, to-do list. But the village people in my life called procrastination would not allow me follow the to-do list. So what do people in my shoe, you know, they have beautiful to-dos. Mondays, I even streamlined it to Mondays, 12 p.m., do this, do that, and all of that. I even had to, I would have, this one, if not the call came yesterday, I would have forgotten that I had something to do today, but I would remember that there was something to do. How do you manage to do this if you have chronic procrastination?
That's a very interesting question you ask, because many people procrastinate. Well, I think for some persons, it's a facet of their personality that they do things best when they feel under pressure. So there's some people like that. So what the first thing is to know yourself. So personally, I don't do things if there's no deadline. So you have to give me a deadline, then I work towards the deadline. So I do the same for myself. So in my to-do list, I always put a deadline because that then motivates me to do what I want to do. The other thing is to simplify one's life. Okay, if you have a lot of things to do, that's it's going to worsen one's tendencies to procrastinate because a lot of things to do, you feel overwhelmed, Then you say, I'm going to do it later. I'm going to do it later. Let me do a bit of this and I'll do the rest later. So know yourself, simplify your life, and realize that beyond writing the to-do list, the more important thing is to do the to-do list. There is a psychological satisfaction we get from writing elaborate, beautiful to-do list that almost makes up for the action itself. You see, it's the same as teaching. So all of us have come to this webinar. We've told people how to live their lives. There's a satisfaction you get from that. Whereas you may not even be doing what you're telling people to do. So it's important to realize that. And the other thing is accountability. So if one has an accountability partner or a price is paid for not doing the right thing. So if, for example, you say, if I need to do the laundry today, for example, and then if I don't do the laundry, then I'm going to give my spouse £100. There's a price to pay. So that could be a motivation. In the short term, ultimately, long-term completion of goals has to be intrinsic. The motivation has to come from within, not from without. Not, oh, I'm going to have to pay a price. Someone's going to say this to me. And that is why, as adults, we procrastinate more, because there is no dad or mom, haranguing you and saying, you have to do this. Why have you not done this? Now you're an adult. You're your own person. You can choose to do it or not. So the motivation has to be intrinsic. So I'll go over those things again. First is know yourself, know how you tick, simplify your life, ensure the motivation is intrinsic. See if in the short term, having a price to pay may help. Yeah, I guess those are some of the main elements that will help. And knowing that beyond the to-do list, you have to do those things we've written. And yeah, I guess it's a lifelong battle. You also have to realize that, especially that since it's a facet of one's personality, it's a lifelong battle to always get better. So celebrate small wins. So if you have a to-do list and you complete 5% of it, and tomorrow you complete 10%, that's progress. So celebrate that. And yeah, till we get to the optimum point.
All
Please,
right,
can
okay,
I add, Atinuke?
Yes, please.
So what I just wanted to add is in line with what the doctor just said, right? First of all,
Yeah.
you have to be very realistic about your to-do list. So there's this thing I used to do at a point, mostly when it's like the new year, you go and listen to one of those aspire to perspire things, and then you're like, oh, I'm going to do these 10 things. Somebody tells you, oh, if you sleep for 8 hours in a day, that means you've slept 30% of your life away, all those kind of things. So you now go and write this very big list of things you plan to do. Now, the truth is, everybody has so much. We all have 24 hours in a day. That's the truth. And no matter how much you push yourself, there are certain tasks that take like certain hours. And you can use things like technology to speed up some things. But regardless, there are some tasks that will take the time they will take. So if you go and you write a lot of to-dos that are not realistic for your two hands, right? It's different if you're delegating things to people or you're getting people to help you. You know that plenty.
I think the
So you're
struggling
just
to.
going to be overwhelmed and you won't get it done. Realistic. Hear me? Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. I
It's
can.
better
I
now.
think it was breaking.
Okay. Sorry about that. So the next thing is you need to prioritize this feel on my end.
well, if I may just butt in to say that, as Toyin mentioned, again, actually, you have to realize that you are a human being, not a human doing. Okay, so one's intrinsic sense of worth and personal satisfaction shouldn't come from all of the things we've ticked off a list, but from the sense of a human being and who you are as a person. It is out of that sense of satisfaction, of comfort, that the energy to then do things comes from. If I may just add that to the discussion.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Welcome back, Mrs. Stein. Let's talk about
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead. Yes, I
Yes,
can.
let's talk about remote work challenges. Remote work challenges. Some of us can't really, we have this difficulty doing remote work, especially when I have a bed close to me, I have a TV, a fridge, and iced tea close to me. I may not really be able to deliver that much. So how do we cope with these, all the pros and cons that comes with remote work, working remotely?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so first of all, I would say it again that you have to be disciplined. That's the truth. I like what the doctor said. You don't have any mother or father standing up over your head and saying, oh, you need to do this or do that. And there's this thing we used to say, oh, motivation, I don't feel motivated. The truth is, if you're waiting for motivation, you might never feel motivated to get things done, right? So you need to get this thing done. You know it is necessary. So categorize these things, what is necessary, right? And if you have a team, for things that are not like high priority, you can delegate those things to your team members. But for things that are important, right, and you're not really in a hurry, you need to get them done. So just do it. I know it sounds like just do it, but the truth is you have to be disciplined. And then you need to because sometimes when you're motivated, you do a lot of things. That's how I handle my social media. Sometimes you see I'll do content, I'll do this, that, I'll create like a beast. And then for like a couple of weeks, I won't feel like doing that anymore. But I've learned over time that whether I feel like doing it or not, if it has to get done, I have to do it. Now for remote work, right? There are now things like co-working spaces that you can use, like you can find ways to actually mingle with people. So if you're mostly working remotely, the truth is that social interaction is a thing. I know somebody that told me she is more productive when she works with people because she bounces ideas off these people. So if you know you're that kind of person, you can try to create a budget for, it might not even be every day, it can be once a week or twice a week, where you go to some places to work. And then there's something that Farouk, I think that's his name, said. He said, yes, Omar Farouk, he said that oh God, there was a point Farouk made that is keeping my mind. Yeah, but basically talk to people. Yes, he spoke of communities. Yes, communities. So there are even online communities where you go and say, oh, hello guys, I know I'm in a couple of those in HR. I'm trying to create so thing. Do you advise I do this or do that? Stuff like that. So if you know that you work remotely and your motivation levels go down, and sometimes you just get, because it's a thing, you get bored, you're working in isolation, you're working in silos, you need that push from somebody else. You can find a way to leverage all of this or even belong to some communities. And if you're a leader in your company, you have a responsibility to find a way to drive engagement, because that's for your team if they're working remotely. So yes, summarily, that's it. Sorry,
all right, thank you so very much.
On my phone. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, all right, thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, so we'll move to Farouk. I'm sure that with the little time you would have, listed out the investment ideas and all of that. Can you hear me?
I'm with you. I can hear you.
Okay, all right. When we started discovering investment platforms like Piggyvest, Carrywise, Bamboo, where you get to trade stocks and all of that, a lot of people have moved decades back. And then when you're trying to tell them about it, they'll be like, oh, so you don't know? We've done that decades back. when a lot of people were getting to, know about crypto, people are like, really? You just get to know about crypto? We've known that like 10 years back and all of that. So I don't know. There is one other thing. People have ideas. I'm sure that there will be a lot of people who have had an idea like Facebook, but they do not even have an idea of how to develop it. A lot of people have apps, ideas of apps, but they are afraid of, oh, how do I go patenting? How do I go with the idea in such a way that somebody would not steal it and all of that? So how do we get to know these hidden treasures? Or do you know any tools or of any apps or something that could bail one out of poverty? Probably in the future, if you don't do it for yourself, you just know that you don't know, you just know that if I invest this, if I do this virtual investment for my kid, probably I buy shares in Tesla, I buy from Microsoft or Google, my kid will become a billionaire and people will be asking, how did it just happen? I'll just cross my leg and money will be coming in. There are lots of things like that that people do not know. So over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that question. I will say that tech is the only poverty alleviation scheme that I know at the moment. Yeah. So tech is actually the only poverty alleviation scheme that I know at the moment. So there are a lot of things that people can do at the moment to help them upskill or to make money. Again, in the area of blockchain, talking about crypto and the likes, I don't really advise people concerning crypto because I know it's a skill that you need to learn, or you just want to buy, except you want to buy a coin, then watch the coin grow. Yeah. And again, if you want to buy a coin and watch the coin grow, I'll tell you to buy popular coin that people know. Don't buy coin that just come up today because they say 0.00 and it rise tomorrow. And those coins, most of those coins here, they are owned by, let me just use the word fraudsters. They just invest in them, view that coin, and you see the coin skyrocket. Before you know, it will grow and you pump your money in there and it will just crash. You never hear from them again. So that's why I don't really talk about crypto that much. I don't talk about blockchain because a lot of people that are involved in it, lots of people that are involved in it, sorry to say, most of these people that are just out there to scam you. Even if you look for those classes online that tell you, I want to teach you how to trade, I want to teach you how to do this, I want to teach you how to do that. Most of the time they end up teaching you nothing. So the most and ultimate investment I will tell you to do in regards to your personal development or your career growth and all is learning a tech skill. You can never go wrong in learning a skill. It's your skill. If you invest in crypto today and your money goes, you start afresh. But the skill is something that nobody can take away from you. Nobody can take a skill away from you. For example, cloud computing is one thing that is involved in that. Like cloud computing is a big shot. I think what you register and it's a course that we do here at it. This is limited. Sorry, I'm not trying to market, but it's the truth.
Market,
cloud
please.
computing is one big thing. Yeah. So cloud computing is one big thing that people should actually invest in right now. Aside cloud computing, you talk about web development, we do Python programming. In as Python is just a language. Learning Python programming can actually open doors for you, like opportunities and all that. I have a neighbor that we both live in Down Jai together, and it was like, hey, bro, I've been working, I'm trying to do something on web development and all that. Like, register with us at TTC Limited. So you can learn how to develop website and other things for people and all. It was like, I think I'm at beginner level. I was like, we start from foundation. You don't have to have any knowledge at all. Once you start here and you're able to just, once you start here and you're able to attend classes, you don't skip your class, you go to learn. Even if you don't even know what you are doing, we have instructors here that are like hands-on that will teach you and you go to learn those things that you don't have to start saying, okay, because you are learning the test and you're still doing online classes. It's fine, you can still do your research, but again, these are the things that we do here. You can learn that, and the guy is making money online now, developing websites for small-scale businesses and all that. And the latest he designed a website for now is 150,000 euros. So imagine how much he makes in a month. So aside, doing that, we also have other tech courses that you could do. There's data analytics also. Data analytics is another big shot. Do you know how much it costs to coordination to hire to analyze data? I think even my doctor can say something about that. Tony can say a lot of things about data analytics. Every organization actually does data analytics, and it's a thing that people should actually involve themselves in. Learning a tech skill can never be overemphasized. Learning a tech skill is something that can never be taken away from you. Investing in crypto, I never see it as a bad idea, but again, some people do not actually, they are not that smart enough to know what crypto to actually invest their money in, to put their money in. They can just invest today and tomorrow their money is gone. But the tech skill is something that it can never be taken away from you. Then lastly, I think yesterday or day before yesterday, I saw in Nairametrics that over trillions of nairas will be lost in 2024 to 2025 because of cybersecurity. You see, it's already a window for you to get in to learn cybersecurity. Because I tell you that over trillions of dollars will be lost in 2024 to 2025. So that means employees and people that own corporate organizations will start recruiting for people that have these skills of cybersecurity and computer networking. This is the skill that you should invest your money on. If you invest your money on this, you can go sit at home, work remotely, and make money. You know, digital marketing is also another one. There are a lot of test skills that you can learn. There are a lot of test skills you can learn. You can just go to our website. You just see a list of courses that we can do that you could do. Then reach out to us. Then ask questions. We are here to guide you through to let you know what you can do. There's one thing that my superior, my boss used to say. Don't learn a skill because you want to learn a skill and you come to somebody to consult, like, I want to learn a test skill. And the person will be like, what do you want to learn? You say, I want to learn cybersecurity. I will tell you the cost of cybersecurity. I'll be like, no, it's too expensive. Let me learn this instead. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Learn a skill that aligns with your goal, not because of the price. If you end up learning something that does not align with you because you are trying to cut costs, you might end up not needing it or not even using it. So save up, learn something, and you can even beg or probably even talk to, and you can do instrumental package, learn is key. Or even if you don't want to come to the test school, go online, like I mentioned, Coursera, Udemy, there are a lot of courses that you can learn them for free. Learn those tech courses for free, and they can actually help you to upskill, and you'll be good. Then you're able to invest in yourself, and your future will smile at you. And like Elizabeth will say, your future self will thank you. Are you?
Atinuke, you're muted.
I said I had issues with network, so I had to connect with my phone, at least pending the time I'll be able to come up on my PC. I would agree with Farouk. You do not just learn because you want to learn for the sake of it. I did that and I regretted it because out of the test and quest that I wanted to, learn something, I went to learn website development and I paid heavily for it, only to find out that it is something that you could just do over the phone, or you could just do checking many of these online sites like that. So we move to Dr. Ayomiko. Yes, we move to Dr. Ayomiko. Let's talk about seeking professional help. We Nigerians do not like to actually know, we don't like to agree that we need help. So we just try to manage something until it's parabands and then turns into something worse off, or like depression or thereabouts, before we now start. Even when people are depressed, they do not know that they need help. So when do I know as an individual that this thing is becoming an addiction that you can't control, or this is the time to seek professional help? How do I know when to do that?
Yeah, so as a psychiatrist, our goal will be that you don't get to the point where you need, psychiatric help. But of course, that would happen for some people. So initially, the things we advise, basic self-help, that would prevent things escalating to needing professional help. So the markers of a behavior or a substance becoming addictive is when one cannot control their use of that substance or phones, and it's beginning to interfere with everyday life, perhaps in terms of their work, their interaction with family members, when they do not the same form of satisfaction they derived in the past. So for example, someone who would be on Twitter for 30 minutes and they're fine. Now you need to be on Twitter for 1 hour, 2 hours, then that's a marker that there's fire on the mountain, as we would say. And then when people begin to also comment, you're not able to sleep, you're very anxious, you're very irritable. Those are markers that help is needed. And sometimes the help that many people will need is not professional help. As you said, take fast. It's things like that, saying every time I come back from work, I'm going to leave my phone, I'm not going to use it. And in fact, there's some phones that will tell you how many hours you've that you've spent so and so hours less on your phone. Being disciplined has been mentioned severally. It's not true. Oh.
Sorry, I'm having issues with my...
Okay, I think that because you have two devices.
Yes, I'm trying to log out of one.
Oh my God. Don't
All right. Is it better now?
Huh?
Yeah.
Yes, so I was saying that the things one would notice is beginning to interfere with, it's all right, that's okay. Interfere with everyday life, work is becoming affected, interaction with family members is affected, one social circle, there's impact on that, sleep problems, irritability, increased anxiety levels. Just mentioned that spending 2 hours on Twitter is a problem. If that's a problem, then everyone needs help. I think 2 hours on Twitter is too much. Yeah, personally. Twitter is not even the place to go. It's very toxic, isn't it? Twitter is a very toxic space.
It's a cold stream.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's a joke from Damilare. Yeah, so that's what I think. Poor sleep, irritability, anxiety, those are markers. Anxious when there's a new notification, or you can't wait for another notification to come in. You're spending time with family and you're distracted. Those are all markers that help is needed. Thank you.
All right. Okay. So before we go further, I would like to ask, some people joined us along the line. We have Kimi B. Bienfa joining us. And then we also have Wale Oguntokun all the way from Lagos as usual. And Kimi B is joining us from UAE or where? We have all of them. Do you have any questions before we go further?
Good afternoon from Doha, Qatar. I have no questions so far, but at least I'm enjoying the discussion as it's progressing. Maybe I will contribute later. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Wale Oguntokun from GRA Lagos. I have no questions too. Let's progress. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
That'll be after. I should give them. I think Damilare is wanted to speak.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Can't hear anybody.
We can hear
you.
We can hear you.
Okay, so no questions, so we can move forward, right?
Yes, we can make progress.
Okay. Okay, there is one. Anyone who can answer this, do you anticipate government regulations on tech skill acquisition to prevent misuse given the rising demand? How can the tech industry and educational institutions collaborate to ensure ethical use? Okay, this is to everyone who can bail us out. Regulations.
Okay, I think I would come in here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I apologize. My network is acting
Same
funny.
here.
My network is collaborating with my village today, so God help us. So I really think that there's going to be some regulation. It might not be limited to Nigeria. I think it will be a global thing because AI AI is great, but it's seeming like there are some uh it would have its vices, right? The truth is people are beginning to become lazy. I've had times when I'll give people aptitude tests to write things for some roles because there are some roles that you need to write, send emails, and all of that. And you'd see that 6 people are writing the same thing or very similar things. And it's not that you shouldn't use AI, but there should be a way that you mix it with your human efforts. So I think it reeks of laziness when you maybe just take somebody's the aptitude test and just go and prompt it on ChatGPT, and when it delivers the results, you just copy it and paste. Also in creative writing, content creation, and all the uses. And we're beginning to see that people are beginning to notice, people are beginning to see things written by ChatGPT and they know. Like ChatGPT has some words, groundbreaking, pivotal, like there are some words that it likes to use, and people are beginning to pick it. And I'm finding that a lot of people are beginning to say, oh no, you have to, like there has to be a human touch to it. So I really believe that as people continue to abuse it, organizations, institutions, governments would create, like now in education, you said it. You said there are like all sorts of posts talking of how people can use ChatGPT to cheat. There was this freelance site I used to be a seller on some years ago. It's called Fiverr. And there was a time when some people used to come and give us their thesis to write for them. Then it got to a point where Fiverr had to ban any form of academic task or academic writing because they realized that in the US or so, a lot of students were coming to get people on Fiverr to do their work. So it was affecting the academic system. So as these things begin to affect the academic systems, affects creativity, affects people's ability to think critically, at different sectors and different areas, there would have to be policies that will create boundaries and limit the abuse. For Nigeria, the issue is even in areas where you'd expect Nigerians to create policies, get as a team take P, our people take their time to create policies. Right. I noticed that our government mostly creates policies when what we are doing will affect them. Right. So if we use AI to the point where it's going to stop somebody from making money, somebody important from making money, then they'll jump on it and just spoil our show and scatter it. Yes, stuff like that. But generally, globally, I believe that as abuse continues to happen, there would be policies governing different aspects of this use. Also, we are at the risk of a lot of people losing their jobs. Like people will lose their jobs whether we like it or not, right? However, there would have to be some boundaries because now I'm hearing that these things can code, I'm hearing that these things can create graphics, I'm hearing that these things can create all sorts of things. So yeah, I believe that these are some of the policies that will come up. I was hoping Farouk would speak more to this because he seems like more of the tech person. Okay, yeah. Damilari said you'd like to ask a question. So, but summarily, that's what I have to add. Atinike, thank you.
All right, thank you. And to add to that, for me, I am for regulation because over time, I have noticed that most of these apps have started putting measures in ways to regulate. But recently, TikTok, you saw the regulation they did right from they regulated, they put some boundaries because the aim, I think they created the TikTok was to share innovations. But when it got to Nigeria, trust us, we turned it into a twerking app. And then we see Facebook. Recently, I changed my page to a business page and I regretted it in 2 weeks because I noticed I couldn't comment. I made comments and you're restricting me for 14 weeks and for 14 days. I make another comment and you're restricting me. So I'm like, oh, really? We are refusing to put some rules and regulations. We are refusing to put some restrictive measures, but those people are now restricting it with time. There's something that they call that if there are no laws, then there won't be punishment. For me, it is not as if restricting and putting rules and regulation is to stifle or to muffle anybody, but it is so as to put some sanctity in that space. So anyone, okay, Eunice, I see Eunice raising a hand. Eunice, all the way from UK.
Good
What do you have
morning.
to say? A very good morning to you.
Yes, it's been a very insightful meeting so far. Well done, Atinoke, and thanks to every other person who have been contributing in one way or the other. So with regards to regulation, I would also like to contribute to that. Apart from the fact that AI was created to prefer solution and make life easy for people, you cannot take away the fact that people have started to abuse it as she said, the other lady who just spoke. So one of the ways that it is being regulated, there are, just as the created ChatGPT, there are apps or softwares like Turnitin, there is GPT-0 and some other apps where academicians or the academia, those who know that people use ChatGPT to answer questions, to do academic work, you can just lift every response that you get from a student or from anybody and put it on those softwares. And it will immediately tell you if that response was generated by AI or using any, You also have softwares like plagiarism detectors and all that. All these apps or softwares are used to regulate the use of AI so that it doesn't get abused or overused for the wrong reasons.
All right, thank you so very much, Eunice. Thank you. Any other contributor? Okay, I think we have a question from Damilare. So Damilare, please, can you ask your question?
Okay, so I was going to speak about the same thing Eunice just spoke about. The AI detection tools are out there that can detect quite easily. So I wanted to ask Matoin about how, don't you think it's about time for us to just embrace the fact that AIs will remain this way? And so the only regulation that the government can most likely put in place is to also support these other companies that are create or embrace AI as well into the academic system, whereby the artificial intelligence can detect other artificial intelligence answers or plagiarism checkers and all of these things. So instead of us battling it as for Nigerians, where we battle with AIs like this, it's a bad thing, it's a bad thing. You might as well use the good side of it. And when you mentioned it, I was like, this is exactly what I was just going to say. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I believe in balance, right? When you are young, I believe that the doctor, he would be able to give us more background on this. The truth is, when we are young and we're growing up, there's some activities we need to involve ourselves in to develop our brains, right? If you don't use your brain, if you don't use your mind, there's a limit to how much it will develop. So I think it's going to hurt young people if they can just go somewhere and just put something. In fact, a lot of young people say, oh, when you do it, you carry that thing from ChatGPT. There's one other site that will write it personally for you. And then when they write it personally for you, when you bring it, you will know. So just the same way we're saying too much screen time is going to hurt children. That's how being mentally lazy will hurt them, right? And at the end of the day, we're finding that work. And if your mind has not been, oh, my internet is unstable, sorry. So you need to develop like your critical thinking skills, and those critical thinking skills will help you beyond the office, right? So even help you on the street. It will help you when somebody comes to you with a phone in Ikeja and says, how far now? This iPhone 15, buy it 50,000. Like your thing.
Apologies, we may need to take over if our network persists. Mrs. Stein? Oh, it's okay. So
Okay,
should we just...
if I can contribute from the tone she was going, I think she's emphasizing the issue of having a balance, which some of us have also mentioned there. First, I want to appreciate all those that have contributed. It has been a very enlightened discussion. And again, now back to continuing from what she was trying to say, I think to my own understanding, the emphasis must be on that creating that balance between deploying AI for better or enhancing your productivity and trying also to make sure that your life don't depend totally on it. We have had instances whereby some persons will go to very high level meetings and they will say, I did not come with my flash drive where I have all my presentations, so everything will just be a mess. So the more we depend on this technology and you don't personally develop yourself to function independently, you'll be constraining yourself. And again, AI most times will provide scenarios whereby what is not reality will be advertised perfectly as reality. There have been a lot of cases. Most times I cite the example of now deceased former governor of Bayelsa State, Jeffrey Solomon Alamese, that was arrested in London. Then he was released under controversial circumstances, found himself in Douala, Cameroon, took a boat ride to Bayelsa. But in the press, what was stated then was that he dressed like a woman and escaped from Scotland Yard. And then I remember telling some of my colleagues, I was in the university then, telling some of my colleagues that the pictures from different newspapers that portray that he escaped from London, all of them are not the same. But then we grew up with this mentality that book not a lie, so whatever that is in paper is the reality. But you see the transaction then, people have started grafting and cropping pictures and putting different heads on different images, but because it was new, all of us accepted it as the reality. But today now, you can have maybe even our, let me not go into that by speaking too much now. Even instances whereby presidents will be making speeches sometimes, people can easily detect if the location that the speech is being made and as the case may be. Atsineke is in the media, so I will not expose their secret when they are packaging big people. So that is just the reality. So we just have to have that balance. I'm having issues with my kids here in school. Things are made very easy for them. Not like us in Nigeria back then in primary school or secondary school. Every day you have to copy notes from your teacher. Fine, they are doing well in school, but I discovered that for them to write, it is very, very difficult because they don't go through those writing practices that we're exposed to while we are in our formative years. But now everything is made easy for them. They have interactive blackboards, all those stuff like that. So it's easy. But the individual capabilities of the person, to me, over-relying on technology would be limiting those abilities personally. So I think that should just be that balance. Then I think there are countries that consciously regulate what their citizens or nationals are exposed to, which is a good one. But our dear country, Nigeria, do we even have the capacity to monitor, talk less of policing what is available for people to consume? It's another case altogether. So thank you very much, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you so very much, Kimebi. Sadly, we're running out of time. So I'll just quickly go to the take home, just what I jotted, what I learned from today. Turn off the notifications. That is, choose what to digest off and on social media and tech trends, or whatever is going on with tech. Then balance it, do more of physical activities. Then to do lists, make sure they are realistic, make to-do lists that are realistic. Then I got the 2020 rule. I'll check more about the 2020 rule from Dr. Ayomiko. Then make money modestly, acquire skills. That is coming from Umar Farouk, make money modestly. Then, of course, take advantage of emerging trends and take advantage of emerging trends. Then what else again? Sow your time wisely. That came from Mrs. Stein. And then lastly, watch out for scam. That came from Kimi Ebienfa. Thank you so much for all your contributions. And thank you to Mrs. Stein for our insightful contribution, Mr. Farouk Mahmoudou, Dr. Ayomiko Amiola, then my co-host, Elizabeth, Damilare Kimibi Bienfa Wale Oguntokun from Lagos, Eunice Johnson from UK, and E86 team. I'll leave you with something to ponder on before Zoom logs us out. The Nigeria Bureau of Statistics reports that women make up just 22% of the total number of people in science, technology, engineering, and maths. That's part of the reason E86 came up with Code Pink. Let us ponder on this and make sure, because I have, of course, as a host of Women Voices, I'm an advocate of women. Let us just make sure that we promote more women in tech as we're going forward. And I just hope that we look up to, discussions that will foster promotion of women in technology. Okay, so that will be about it. Let me hand over to Elizabeth so that she'll just wrap it up. Thank you very much. Elizabeth, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. So thank you very much, Ms. Atinoke. Thank you to all our speakers for enlightening us on tech and how it relates to our everyday life. I hope we've all learned something and we'll work on it. So thank you very much, everybody. We'll close the meeting now. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having
Thank you.
me.
Bye.
Thank you.